Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and today I'm going to show you how to use the Stamparatus and Painted Poppies stamp set to create just a fun, pretty quick and easy card. I'm also going to be using the Peaceful Moments Sentiment stamp set for our sentiment. It looks like this. I'll be using I think I'm going to use Thinking of You with All My Heart is the sentiment I picked for this one. But really, any of these would be great for this card. Let's go ahead and switch to the desktop. And I'm going to start by putting my card base right here on my Stamparatus. I took the foam mat off, so it's just the Stamparatus because this is a cling stamp set. So I just want that pretty straight. And I'm going to make a little pencil mark. Let's see, I don't think I need that one. I'm going to make a little pencil mark right here, a little arrow showing that that is the corner that I am placing the edge of my cardstock in. And this is just a A2 size card base. It is 8.5 by 8.5 by 5.5 inches. I scored it at 4.25 inches. So the first thing I'm going to do, or the first stamp I'm going to stamp with, is this leaf stamp, the single leaf. And I'm going to put one edge of it over against this mark. It really doesn't matter where you start, but what I'm going for is I want this bottom corner. Okay, I was afraid my camera would get knocked over if I let go of the top plate there. So I want this bottom corner at the edge here, and then I'm counting over 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want the top corner to be about here. So I want my stamp to take up 1 inch width, basically, is what I'm doing, or at least close to it. And that'll give me an idea too, whenever I get ready to move my stamp in a little bit. That'll give me the an idea of how I want it set up. So that the bottom of my stamp is down here at this corner. The top is going to be just a little bit over that line. But I have the edge here at 1 inch. I'm hoping that makes sense. Okay, so now I'm just using the Tuxedo Black Memento ink to ink that stamp up. I'm going to go ahead and ink it every time because I want a nice dark image every time. I'm not trying to stamp off. Oops. So each time I am re-inking and I'm moving my plate over once. That way I don't have to move my stamp a lot, just the plate. Okay, so I'm going to reset my plate here back where it started. I'm going to take this cardstock, or this card base, and I'm going to turn it upside down. Remember that mark I made? I'm going to use that as my guide, and I'm going to put this right back in that same spot, only this time upside down. Little wobbly here towards the end, so you want to make sure you're getting it straight still. Okay, so before I put that back on, I'm going to go ahead and just clean my stamp off a little bit. So I'm going to blot it just on a paper towel. And then I'm going to use my chamois to finish cleaning that ink off. If your chamois is real wet, you may want to take just like a microfiber cloth. I keep one here at my desk all the time, just to blot off any excess moisture. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and take this off, put my plate back on, and then I'm going to line that up again. And so I know that the top is going to be a little bit over that, and I know I want 4 inches on my width. So I want the edge to be on this one, and then go 1, 2, 3, not 4 inches, 1 inch. That would have been crazy. Okay, so then I'm just going to pick that back up, and then repeat that process of stamping, inking, stamping, inking, stamping. Okay, then I'm going to take that card base and turn it upside down again. Place it back in that same corner. Get it as straight as I can. Put my plate back on and then repeat the inking stamping process. So now I'm going to put up that black ink for a minute and pull out my Pear Pizzazz ink pad. And I want this splatter. And I'm just going to take it, I'm doing the widest part at the top, and I'm just stamping over and over and just adding some green to my leaves here. And evidently to my desk too, just a smidge, but that's okay. It'll clean up. It's okay if you're stamping over some already stamped places, that's fine. And if you want to, you can bring these leaves up a little bit higher whenever you stamp, so that a little bit more of your card is covered with them. That would be good. Okay, so now I'm going to use the Tuxedo Black again. I'm going to ink up the larger poppy flower. I'm just going to stamp that on my scrap piece of paper, or cardstock. This is basic white cardstock. And then I'm going to use my polished pink stamp pad with this watercolor background stamp. This is all from Painted Poppies. I'm going to just stamp that right over that flower. Okay, so it's not all colored, that's okay. I just wanted to add a touch of color to my flower. Now I'm going to use my Stamp Cut and Emboss machine with the Painted Labels dies. It is the die that includes this, or the die set that includes this one to cut out the poppy. Now I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals place my poppy there, and I'm going to use the Tuxedo Black again just to stamp the sentiment next to the flower. pull that off actually. I got a little ahead of myself. I want to stamp my sentiment first and then place my flower next to it. Okay. Okay, and for a final touch, I'm just going to use a few of these in the polished pink color. They're 21 to 23 in color opal rounds. And that's our card made with the Stamparatus, and would you look at that? So, when stamping, make sure that you remember to turn your card the right way before putting your sentiment on. So, I think that what I'm going to do to fix this is I'm going to clean my sentiment stamp real quick. And I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull out a piece of basic black cardstock. And I'm going to use my white embossing powder and my heat tool. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp this with Versamark and heat emboss it in white. I'll be right back. It just so happens that this die from Painted Labels dies fits across this sentiment really well, so I'm gonna, and the scrap that I got is gonna let me cut that out too. So thankfully I didn't get a piece of cardstock that was any smaller than this, or it wouldn't work. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out using this die, and then let's see what we need to do from there. So the great thing about pre-recording these videos is that I could just go ahead and start over and you would never know that I had made a mistake. But I think that it's nice to know how to fix these boo-boos. So I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool and go ahead and pull that off. This one just came off of my finger. And then that is going to slide right underneath there. So again, let me just put these polished dots back over here for a second. I'm going to grab this flat tool on my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to slide it right under this Stampin' Dimensional. And then that way, I can pick that up just enough to slide this under it. So I do want to go ahead and add some liquid glue to the back of this, and then slide that under there. And we'll just place one of these right over the sentiment and then the next one off. There we go. So boo-boo fixed, thank goodness. And I think it's still a cute card. It's just stepped up a tiny little bit that I hadn't planned on. So as you can see, mistakes do happen in stamping. A lot, probably more than I should admit, but it's a great opportunity to adapt and just change up your card a little bit, and who knows what you'll come up with just from fixing an oopsie. Thank you so much for watching my video. Let me know if you have any questions about Stampin' Up, about becoming a demonstrator and getting your discount that way. And be sure to give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend. Happy stamping.